Hey y'all, welcome back to Miller's Soapbox, and today we're going to be doing another Harmony Bloom experiment inside Waveform 13. I've got this new rack built for y'all. I've named it my Harmony Bloom multi-note track because I did a one-note track experiment where I wanted Harmony Bloom to play a single note and be able to create an entire track by itself. This time we're going to let Harmony Bloom do everything it wants to, but be able to control the output in the way that we want. So we have our first instance of Harmony Bloom going here, and I have it on very simple settings. There's not a lot of parameters that are kind of out of whack. The only thing I've kind of set up is this note range. I have locked it very specifically for our instruments to use within that range. Two of them are programmed only within that range for the note sections that we need. And then I just have this nice spiral type of pattern, and we're going to be doing some fun things with that pattern in a little bit. So I've been recently listening to a lot of sample style type of artists like Sakura Girl, Roa, as well as Highlight Tribe, and have gotten a real nice feel for some upbeat kind of vibe. So I wanted to do something with a bass and a guitar, kind of more acoustic type of sounds rather than electronic feels, and then kind of meld in those later. So this is not going to sound good at first. Everything is being routed through the right hand speaker because I do a pan effect later with these LFOs. But unfortunately, I'm not so good at automation to make sure they're center when these are off, but I'm slowly figuring that out. So we're going to start with the bass here, and we're just going to have Harmony Bloom kind of play our bass. So right now, Harmony Bloom is set up in a way where some strings are set to channel 1, some strings are set to channel 3, and only string 2 is set to channel 2 very specifically because we've layered each of our MIDI bays in certain ways to accept channel 1, channel 2, and channel 3 for the specific pattern that we want for the different instruments. Now, we'll get to this fourth channel bay here in just a sec. So with the bass playing, it is only playing that fixed range that it's programmed for. So this plugin, Ample Bass Light, only plays the notes within this range. These ranges have other effects that I didn't want to use. So while the bass is playing, I wanted to make the guitar play on a counter melody for only one string. And now let's make this sound a little bit better by passing it back and forth. Alright, so now that we've got our guitar and bass, I really liked how it was going, but I got the feeling that I needed more notes. And I'm like, well, I have number of notes in Harmony Bloom, but I also don't want to lose this pattern, because when you increase the notes, you take this pattern and timing and you basically condense it. So to make room for more notes. Oh wait, we can control that with an LFO. And we get this nice cool animation as it's playing this bouncy pattern now. And I was like, okay, we can add a little bit more depth to the bounce by affecting the note duration as well. So while it's out here, it'll play its longer notes, and then while it's in, it'll strum its shorter notes for a little bit. And I'm like, okay, cool, I've got that sound going really nice. So I'm just gonna pop it in spectator mode, move that off to the side, and I'm like, well, this needs a really good hi-hat. So let's put it in a hi-hat drum percussion. So now what this is doing on those strings that were programmed for string 3, on various notes of Harmony Bloom's circuit, it plays different instruments in the sampler. So I have a snare, a clap, and a snap, all in here at different ranges of this note cycle. And as it zooms in, it focuses the range that it plays kind of on the center bit here, so it only hits the clap or the snap very rarely, while it's always hitting the snare. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. And let's go with a nice kick sound next. So I didn't want to add a kick into here because I had already used up most of the space. So I'm like, okay, let's make Vital play it. So I put a kick noise on every single string, and it sounded pretty good, but I'm like, okay, so this channel bus right now is taking every single string, so I could have all 8. Well, I want it to do something on each string, but I don't want it to play that note on every string, even though it sounds decent. So let's pop it through Kilohearts Transgate and put it in the same time frame as Harmony Bloom. So you guys might be able to tell, but the rate at which Harmony Bloom is spinning is the same rate at which Transgate is spinning, keeping that beat in line and giving that kick some variation. So now that we have all of that nice bits, I was thinking, well, I need a vocal type of sound. I need something elongated. I need something nice to go over this guitar and bass duet that's happening right now. So I was like, what better thing to do that with than another instance of Harmony Bloom. So the first instance of Harmony Bloom is our main driver. And when we take the MIDI out and put it into the second instance of Harmony Bloom, we're taking every single note strike and MIDI input and popping it through this one. So what essentially happens is when this plays a note in this instance of Harmony Bloom, it is going to attempt to do that many notes from this Harmony Bloom. So because this loop length is set lower, more of these notes will play in between these note strikes, making it so that it tries to play this pattern every time this strikes. Now, normally the second Harmony Bloom will stutter when you try to do something like this. Usually that means your retrigger is on. Make sure retrigger is off, and this one will keep rotating without this one having to slap it through. I've also increased the note duration, and I kind of just played around with the notes to kind of find something that just sounded good. Didn't really calculate that one out like I did this one. But, so I'm just going to play it blank here without it doing anything. And as you can see, it's just receiving the MIDI information from the first Harmony Bloom. And then we just enable the noisemaker. And it makes this nice sound. And I really liked it. I threw it through Kilohertz compressor, and then I have the whole track going through an 8-band equalizer just to keep the gains down, keep it nice and light. And we've got this just panning back and forth at different rates, so your ears get different combinations of where the sounds are. Alright guys, thank you so much for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed everything going on, and I'm really excited to continue doing more rack experiments like this with y'all. If you guys have any questions on what I'm doing, you can always put it down in a comment. I'm really bad at responding to my socials, so Just let that be in mind. But thank you again so much for hanging out, and have a wonderful rest of your day.